never smoke the dizzy, but we can always share some ditties. It's just a cup in time. This song doesn't have to run. Life's all of us, not every moment we can be feeling fine. I wanna share a moment, just a second if you will, maybe even a cup of thrill. We could share this performance. It's tea time, come sit with me.
Well, welcome everybody. Miss Liz in the house, and I have the beautiful Kendra Erika in the back, and we're going to talk about her new album called License to Thrill. That's the album we'll be talking about, plus a little bit of all of her background music and all that good stuff. And her tea time we're serving tonight is Timeless Elegance and Entertainment, from tone deaf to top 10. That is the tea that we are serving tonight in this house. But before we get started, you guys know how Miss Liz rolls. Get over to all those platforms: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, all those good platforms, and all the podcast apps out there, Spotify, Listen Notes, Podbean, all those good podcast apps out there. Miss Liz is on all of those out there. So give those a like, follow, subscribe, and get these tea times out there, because they do make a difference for the guest and for listening audience that resonate with the stories that come to the table. So let's get started with disclaimer and then a beautiful intro, and then we're going to get Kendra in here and we're going to spill some tea together. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz's Tea Time is a global platform dedicating to sharing real life stories, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations that inspire awareness, healing, and connection. I, Miss Liz, is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment during the live broadcast, please grant StreamYard permission to display your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that all the content brought forward during any Tea Time show is presented in good faith. However, discussions may include opinions, beliefs, and perspectives that do not necessarily represent the views of Miss Liz or the Tea Time platform. Information shared by guests is based on their own experiences and is perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All guest viewers and participants are responsible for using their own good judgment when considering any action or decision that may relate to these discussions. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics, including but not limited to trauma, abuse, grief, mental health, and other emotionally triggering subjects. Listeners' and viewers' discretion is strongly advised. Tea Time with Miss Liz is an open discussion forum designed to offer insight, inspire awareness, and create connection. It is not a substitute for professional, medical, legal, or therapeutical advice. If you require professional support, please seek assistance from qualified professionals or trusted resources in your area. If you have any questions regarding this disclaimer or the content or the discussion, you are welcome to contact me, aka Miss Liz, directly at my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com, or check out my link tree at Miss Liz's Tea Time. By choosing to participate in, comment on, or view these live shows, you acknowledge and accept this disclaimer. Your participation is entirely voluntary. I, Miss Liz, welcomes you to join the conversation with an open heart, and if at any time you feel this platform is not right for you, I respect your wishes and decision and welcome you back whenever you're ready. Tea Time with Miss Liz is serving truth and awareness one cup at a time. Well, welcome to Tea Time with Miss Liz, where voices tell stories and artistry becomes a journey of expression, power, and connection. Today's guest brings a presence that is both electrifying and refined, a voice that moves between worlds of music, storytelling, and performance with effortless grace. Please join me in welcoming Kendra Erika, acclaimed singer, songwriter, and actress whose unmistakable voice and fearless creativity have made her one of today's most compelling crossover artists. With multiple Billboard top 10 dance hits, including her #1 reimagining of Self-Control, Kendra has created a sound that blends pop, dance, jazz, fusion, and cinematic storytelling into something uniquely her own. Her latest album, License to Thrill, takes us into a world inspired by the elegance and intrigue of classic film soundtracks, a bold evaluation in her artistry that showcases not only her vocal power, but her ability to tell stories through music. From global recognitions and international collaborations and captivating live performances across major stages, Kendra continues to connect audience through sound, emotion, and presence. So grab your cup Grab your cup and lean in. Today's tea time is about creativity, expression, and the courage to step fully into your artistic voice. Let me get Kendra in here and let's spill some tea. Welcome, Kendra.
Thank you for having me. Let's spill some tea.
Let's get that tea out there.
Yeah. Let's get the water brewing.
There we go. So Kendra, tell me who you were as a little girl and who you are now as a grown woman.
Wow. Well, as a little girl, I always had these aspirations. My mom put me in front of the TV, in front of like all those Disney princess movies. And I was like, they would sing and they would dance and they would be in their own world. And I was like, that's what I want to be like. That's it. You have me sold. So I then started putting on productions, like little shows for my parents and their friends. Only obstacle was that I was tone deaf and I didn't have the skills yet to perform. However, I had the determination and the confidence and all that. So, when I was 8 years old, my parents signed me up for private vocal coaching with the German opera singer. And because I was so young, I was able to absorb all that foundational training because classical and operatic singing is the foundation for all forms of singing. So from there, my voice just started to evolve and I really had to work at it. And that's one thing that I will say I have an advancement in as opposed to others that were naturally gifted because I felt like I've had to work more for it. So therefore, I feel like I said, I've evolved with it. And also when you've had to work for something so much, it just naturally gives you that work ethic. And I would say now, since I do have all those skill sets developed now, even though I'm still working towards improving because that's a no-brainer. Right now, I'm in a vehicle now that I am creating my own world, but it's a world that was also introduced to me at such a young age, which is the James Bond world.
And that's what I was going to ask you because I'm going to pull up your album and that's what I got from it was a James Bond feel. So I'm going to pull it up. So just describe a little bit on the colors and why you did it that way.
Well, as you can see, it looks like a bullet hole. It looks like the caliber that like the classic James Bond intros to every movie. Hold on. Let me get the Bond cat out of the way. So as you can see, it's like the barrel, and also License to Thrill is a play on words from License to Kill. And this is the James Bond tribute album that I just released.
That's what I got from it when Kelly sent it to me. I was like, oh, James Bond, she's doing a little bit of that. So did you see yourself as a private investigator or something like that? Like
Well, funny enough, my grandfather was a detective in the FBI, and he worked in New York and Chicago, like back in the day. He had the trench coat, he had the hat, he looked like Dick Tracy, and funny enough, his name was Dick. So, but and my dad's both my dad and my uncle turned out to be lawyers, so we have that sort of investigative mind, and also just that mindset of, we're very we operate from our cerebral impulses. So let's just say that.
Well, I want to get into your phrase from tone deaf to top 10 is powerful. What did the journey really look like for you?
The journey for me, it was organic, and I've definitely evolved from that. But like I said, I got into private training with the professional opera singer, And that was only to straighten me out so I could participate in the local community theater productions. So once I was doing that, I was doing a ton of that. I was also doing like school productions, and then I entered into a talent competition called Future Stars in Boca Raton, Florida. And it was my first time competing in this, and I was 13 years old, and I got up there and I did Andre Bocelli's Time to Say Goodbye, and I won my first year out doing that song, probably because it's a challenging song and it was impressive for a 13-year-old with a mouthful of braces wearing this like yellow gown to be singing this. And that kind of that gave me such a confidence boost. And then I just started doing other local competitions and performances, and still being in school productions, community theater. And then I went to an Italian restaurant in Boca Raton, Florida, when I was 15 with my parents one night for dinner, and it just so happened to be karaoke night. So I got up there and I did Time to Say Goodbye again, got a standing ovation, and then the owner, Renzo, comes over to the table with 2 glasses of wine and says, "I have a proposition." And we're like, "Oh, is this going to turn into a like Francis Ford Coppola movie?" You know, like he's like, "Got a proposition." And he said, I just, in his words, I'll never forget it. He goes, "I lost my Sunday singer because she got knocked up." And, and he, I just thought that like stapled into my brain. And he said, would you like to have a job singing every Sunday night here? And I said, absolutely. So after the dust settled, after the clouds settled, I got back home, and also my mom was in this whole, like, she had to settle down too, because she was sharing in the excitement. And come to find out that if I was going to have a steady gig, I couldn't just sing like the 5 songs I knew on a loop. I had to expand my repertoire. So that's what got me into creating a repertoire that was that garnered well for the clientele. So in Boca Raton, Florida, you have a lot of those retirees from New York and New Jersey, and they love the Frank Sinatras and the Billie Holidays and the Dean Martins, and they just love the American Songbook. So I had to procure a pretty good playlist of those standards, and so that's what I started performing in, and I performed in that restaurant. And then from doing that, just by word of mouth and just organic promotion, then I started getting other performances in Boca at restaurants, lounges, and then I was doing like more like festivals, just anything. I was doing a lot of performances just to get my name out there and become a staple name in the community. All the while, I then started working with different like producers in Miami, and that's what started my whole songwriting journey, because I was always fascinated with the process of creating music and writing music. And from there, I recorded an album. I recorded singles, and just from working with those people, then that led into working with other people, other producers in the Miami area, and then that's what led to me working with this artist development firm in New York. And funny enough, when I sat down with them and I was telling them my interests and like who I was and what makes me tick, and just having those creative conversations, they developed me as this Bond girl image, kind of like this femme fatale. I would say Michelle Pfeiffer from Casino, or Michelle Pfeiffer from Scarface, Ginger from Casino, like those types of characters I use as references. So I put out 2 songs with them called Hustler and Miami Love. And they were in this like Lana Del Rey, Ellie Goulding, Bond girl like motif and aesthetic. But when I started hitting a wall with them creatively, I was then introduced by them to Jason Dowman, who is a Billboard promoter for the Billboard dance club charts. And I talked to him both with them and then privately. And I said, listen, I'm hitting a wall with them creatively. They're almost like forcing me to create these songs, and I can't operate under that kind of pressure. And he said, well, how about you just scrap that and come out to LA and work with my team of producers and creatives. And because he was in the dance world, a lot of these producers that I was introduced to and worked with were in the dance zone. So, and then from there, I then started writing and recording with them. And then before you know it, I had 5 top 10 hits on the Billboard dance chart. And one of them went to #1.
Yeah, you've won some really incredible awards and stuff like that. I'm going to bring that up a little bit later in the show, but we have some questions that are coming into the studio that I just want to get them out to you.
Oh, sure.
We have a question here, and it says, can you walk us through your creative process from concept to final production for this album, and how you ensured each track contribute to a coherent narrative? Okay.
So I'd always wanted to do something Bond related, hence why the firm in New York was designing me to be this kind of image. And I always wanted to do something very cinematic. And I always knew I was going to do something like Bond related. And being that I was in the dance zone, I didn't know how to properly like transition into that. So, this is about like 2 or 3 years ago, like the concept then just started growing louder in my brain. And then finally I voiced it to my team, like my mom, and then my creative team. And at first they were like, oh no, because when you're trying to make a pivot genre wise, it can, there's natural hesitation. But then from seeing how it started to just unfold, all of those concerns started, there is like water off a duck's back, and people were seeing it and people like heard it. And I sat down with Myra McKinley, who I recorded my cover of Witchcraft with. He and Ralph Johnson from Earth, Wind & Fire co-produced that. And that was kind of like a segue track into going back into my roots and my jazz roots. So I was introducing those elements early on. But I sat down with him because I knew that he was going to be the guy for this project, because he does such a great job at reimagining classics. I mean, to reimagine Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson, I mean, come on. It's like, let's throw this pen up in the air. It's like, forget about it. And he did such a great job. So I sat down with him. I told him the songs that I wanted to recreate, and he put together the arrangements with his team of musicians. Then I just went in there and I laid the vocals down, and just doing the vocals was such an easy process. And that's when you know that it's meant to be, when it's just a flow, when there's no like, I mean, there are cases where when you have those obstacles come up, that means that you're doing the right thing. But in this case, when it feels so easy, I think that was just a gift, because I think throughout my career, I was just like trying to, I was pushing against like different opposing forces. And I think that's what was leaving me in like a question area, which led me into doing this pivot. But and then just laying the vocals down and seeing it all come together. That was that's how I put this in a very nice vehicle. And then I took it to Vegas, because I knew Vegas was going to welcome it warmly with open arms.
So, Kendra, how many genres have you done?
I can sing like opera, classics, jazz. I can do dance. I can do pop. And also if someone gives me a country song, I can do that. I'm just very versatile, but I'm also selective with my choices as well.
Well, we have a comment here. In an industry that often pushes trends, how do you stay fearless and committed to your unique artistic vision while still connecting with a broad audience?
Well, that's a good question. Because there are a lot of trends now, and the problem is that people that follow those trends fully end up growing mundane. So, but I think it's like you need to evolve with the times.
Yeah.
Because if you want to because if you want to excel in anything, you have to evolve with the times. And there's that saying, if you can't beat them, join them. Like I'm fully in the scope that you need to be fearless, and you kind of need to have that sensibility of beating them, but at the same time just extrapolating things that work for you and incorporating them into what you're doing. Like having a social media presence is so important. Like, even though I'm doing something from a different era, having a social media presence, and also putting, being on social platforms is just so critical in order to get your project out there. And that's how you connect with a broader audience. Because if you keep yourself limited, you're going to be limited.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. You have to evolve, right? You have to open those doors, and you have
yeah,
to try different things. And if you get stale if you stay in one genre, right?
exactly. Yeah. And that's and if one of this is one of my examples that I've been writing on, and that is Nicole Scherzinger. She started off being in the Pussycat Dolls and doing, shake your booty music. And just doing that alone, because she's actually very talented herself. And she even acknowledged, she said, doing the Pussycat Dolls was kind of limiting me, and people weren't taking me seriously. And then as soon as she tapped into who she authentically was, it just, opportunities opened up for her. She's got like Tonys now. She's got all these opportunities. Why? Because she didn't limit herself to just like bend and snap and loosen up my buttons. Although that's like that's a fun song to dance to in the club, but it can.
You can't be just clubbing, right? You got to be all over the place.
Yeah, you can't just be clubby. You gotta be all over the place, like you said.
Yeah. Well, I seen, and I did my homework. You have 36 albums. Since
do.
2015 to 2026. Which one was the hardest one for you to do?
Well, I didn't know that I had 36. I've never counted, but thank you.
I do my homework.
I didn't know. 36. Oh, wow. Whoa. I've done a lot now. But you said the hardest. The hardest one I've had to do. I mean, I can't really think of one that was super hard for me. But because like you look back and you're like, oh my God, I did that song, but at the time it just worked. So I can't really say that there was one that was like hard for me to do.
Do you think, like, when you first started off, Kendra, like in 2015 to where you are today in 2026, have you seen the change in growth in yourself?
Oh, I have. Yes, I truly have. And that, like I said, that just comes with like natural evolvement. because I never wanted to fall into being manufactured or engineered. Because I have this saying, and I actually posted it recently. I said, success from engineering is man-made and can be destroyed, but success based off of evolvement is made from God and cannot be destroyed. So I have seen those. I wouldn't say like changes, but I will say that there's definitely been some growth.
So one of your favorite songs from those 36 albums, now that you know how many you have out there, what is one that stands out to you the most? Is it in the last album, or is there one in between that nobody might know about that they can check out?
I did a remake of Phantom of the Opera, and it's a dance house version of Phantom of the Opera. So there's like this deep, rich beat behind it, and I did it with Damon Sharp, who I've done a lot of my Billboard stuff with. But that one really stands out. So I implore people to go and listen to that.
Oh, incredible. Yeah, I've done my homework. See, I got my book here.
you got your book.
I did my homework.
Yes.
When I seen how many albums, I was like, whoa, she's been busy. This girl's been busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to talk about, because you have a phrase on your merchandise that says, I'm nice till I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
Well, it's based off of the song I'm Nice Till I'm Not that I released last year. And it's very Charleston, Flapper, Gatsby, Speakeasy. And that particular song was like a segue project into introducing this, this more classic old Hollywood, timeless sense that I could bring and that I can bring. And that I'm bringing now, because I never want to say could. That's a danger word.
That is a danger word, especially in this entertainment world, right?
Yes.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda are danger words.
Danger and potential is also a danger word as well. So that's why I say this is what I'm bringing. But yeah, that's a song that I wrote with Celeste Williams and Luigi Gonzalez, and it's a really fun video. We shot it at Capo's in Vegas, and it's such a throwback to those good old classic Vegas mobster days.
You got a little bad girl in you.
I do. What can I say? I
all do, right? But we hide it pretty well, some of us.
Yeah, but I don't like to let people know that I'm hiding it, because I mean, if you it's like you always want to let people know that you have a little like guard dog on your lawn, so people don't mess with you.
Well, even the cat is agreeing. The cat is putting her 2 cents in and saying, wow, mama's got
yeah, well she's got a naughty side too. That's why she's meowing like this, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, they usually do that when they want your attention, right? When you're supposed to be focused somewhere else, they're like, oh my goodness, I know my cat does the same thing, and I'm just like, no, get out of here. It's not time for you. Yes. We've got a couple more questions that came in, and we have some that came in earlier that I'd like to get out to you, Kendra. And this one is, what advice would you give to artists exploring creative risk?
Lean into it. Because the entrepreneurial spirit is all about like taking risks. But I will say that you can't just take risks without being prepared for it. Yeah. Because if you just take a risk without like preparation, then that's what's gonna be a pitfall for you. So if you prepare, then and if you have a plan in mind, then you'll be good to go.
The next one is, how do you stay authentic while growing globally?
Well, authenticity is global. and that's the only way to stay global is being authentic, because especially when we're in such a commercial industry right now, where there's a lot of fake it till you make it players. They have a short lifespan, and then they're not memorable. Why? Because it doesn't connect into the understanding of who you are. And then if you can't engage with that, then you can't engage with others.
Absolutely. And I'm with you with that. You know, if you want people to remember you, stay authentic. Just be yourself, you know.
Yeah.
Come as you are, be who you are. And that's why I serve real life tea, because I don't want fake tea. I want real tea, and I want to go deep. And when you gave me your tea, I was like, oh, this is going to be a nice, strong cup of tea, because the words you gave me for your tea were timeless, elegance, and entertainment, which is really strong and tells me a lot about you. So tell my listeners why you gave me those words for your tea.
Well, you just said it best. You want some strong tea. You don't want the and all of those words, there's some gravitas to that. There's layers to that. There's different layers of growth in that. And that's what makes it like a full bodied tea. And I just want to my biggest goal is to be as well-rounded as possible, and to keep on being well-rounded.
I like that, because the word timeless, it means that time doesn't stop for you. And you kind of take everybody back to the history of the good jazzy music and the classicals and stuff like that people might not listen to today, but you put a twist on it and you bring people back to that time. And that's what I got when you gave me the word timeless. And then elegance. If you check out this girl's social media, the elegance and the gowns. Let's talk about some of your wear and fashion. How do you come up with these gowns?
Well, some of them I just find online. I've actually had really good luck at shopping online for myself. Like whatever I get, it fits. But also, especially for the License to Thrill show that I did and that I'm doing, there's a very talented designer. Her name's Catherine Trifoletti, and I wore some of her pieces during the show. So and they fit so well into the storyline, into the aesthetic, and just collaborating with her was a great touch.
This is a question that came in earlier, and I want to get out to you. Loving the cinematic vibe. What inspired this album?
Well, my dad showed me my first Bond movie when I was 7 years old, hence 007. And I think just from there, that really planted the seed for me. And I had always wanted to do something Bond related in my music. So like I said earlier, it was a concept that I've always wanted to do. And it was just about finding the right timing to do it and to execute it and to put it into motion.
I'm not sure if I got this question out to you, but I'm going to put it out again. How do you blend storytelling with music so seamlessly?
Oh, well, if you think about it, I don't want to take us all the way back to the cavemen days, but I will say that music was the original form of storytelling. People would sit around the campfire when after the cavemen finally figured out how to make fire, they would sit around it and they would tell stories through music. So it's natural for us to storytell through music. And if we go back to that authenticity of it and to where it began, if we go back to the origins, like what I'm doing right now. I'm going back to an era that we actually need some elements of that to help improve our society today. Like we need some of that elegance, that class, that taste, in order to improve our society right now. Just like with music, we need to go back to why people were making music to begin with, and it was to storytell. And I think along the way, music has been a way to spread certain agendas or propaganda or just certain like messages that may not be of the greatest benefit to society. But on the other hand, it's been a way to spread good messages as well. So, but in order to be well-rounded and not be so messagey with your project, it's really important to have a good story behind it.
Well, and the music, I always tell my kids, if you want to know how mom is feeling, listen to the music mom's listening to. It'll tell you a
Yes.
lot on what type of mood I'm in, if you should approach me, if you should stay away, if mom needs a hug, all of
Yes.
that good stuff. I taught my kids that at a young age. Play music when you can express yourself, because people are going to understand what you're going through. You might not be able to express it through words, but you'll be able to express it through music.
Right. Exactly.
So, Kendra, we have a question here for you: is how did the Las Vegas showcase influence the album vision?
Oh, well, what greater place to have a James Bond concept than Las Vegas? Because it's very casino-y, very martini-y. And there's also that classic sense. And also because a couple of the Bond films were filmed in Vegas too. So like Diamonds Are Forever. So, and Vegas just has that appeal, and being that Vegas attracts so many people globally. Bond is such a global image, and everybody around the world knows who Bond is, and everybody can appreciate that. So when you're in a mecca like Vegas that attracts so many different walks of life and people universally, Vegas is the place to have a James Bond concept
Absolutely.
take flight.
Well, and it has the casinos and all of that, and you said a lot of your music is based on casino, the movie Casino as well. So, and there's lots of casinos in Vegas. So, you know.
Yes.
So, do you like performing live or in the studio? Which one would you prefer more?
Oh, well, I like recording in the studio, but then I then like to connect with people when I'm performing live, because that's my favorite thing to do is to invoke certain like emotions and feelings with people and just to engage with them. And that's one of the things that I like to do, because then that fuels me, and then it fuels them, and it's just this it just creates a lot of great energy. And yeah, we definitely need to get back to that, more of that like live element, because especially in Vegas, people want to be entertained, and I think having that classic sense of entertainment back is going to revitalize the city.
What's one event that you've done that stands out the most to you?
One event that I've done, aside from the debut show License to Thrill that we did back in February, that's the one that really stands out to me. But there was I performed at this huge arena in Mexico City a couple years ago, and it was a huge arena. Like Madonna just performed there a month before I was there, and just being in that arena and performing, it was like so powerful. It really was. And it also stood out to me because I've been forewarned that the altitude in Mexico City is just huge. So I was told, get there a few days before, get acclimated, because especially if you're doing something like musically or athletically or anything that exerts energy, you want to be prepared for it. But no, I flew from Guadalajara, I flew right into Mexico City, and then I had to go straight to sound check and then do the performance. So in the middle of the second song, I was like, I felt winded, and I wasn't even I was just like walking, because it was such a big stage. All I could do was just walk from one end to the next, because if I stood in like one place in this big stage, it would look weird. So and I think that's why I got overworked, is because I was trying to cover all aspects of the stage, because I was like, I'm not just going to be like this one singular object on the stage, so I was like pacing back and forth, and I think me pacing got me winded, but also it was the altitude. It was really thin, so I was like, I started getting this like lightheaded, sort of can't catch a breath feeling, but I kept it very Van Damme, and I continued on.
I noticed that because I watched a video of you in the golden dress, and you're so straight, like you're right into the music. Like you could feel that you were singing the notes to your body almost. It's hard to explain what I got from that video. It's almost like you were living the music through your body with that song. And I was just like, whoa, you don't see that too often when people live the music, live the words. Some people will just sing, like the fake it to make it. We'll just sing the song and just do it, right? Get the big viral trend, and then they're gone and you never hear from them again. Where when I watched you in that video, I was just like, oh, this is different.
This is different. This has a different element.
It was like really different. And I was like, I enjoyed watching the video. You weren't just listening to the music, you were actually watching the body language as well as you were singing the words, is what I got from that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
We have a question here, is what's your favorite track on the album?
Oh, Diamonds Are Forever.
Oh, I like that one.
Mm-hmm. That's my favorite.
The next one we have for you is the blend of jazz and pop sounds amazing on your album. And then how can your inner strength in what you do so well help other women in the industry? Because your Facebook post on International Women's Day was fantastic.
Well, thank you. I have to read the question. How can your inner strength and what you... Well, self-image is very important, and this is something that is a truth breaker. But I will say, in order to really own your power in this industry, you have to like kind of stay away from objectifying yourself. And that is how you present yourself is how you will be received. So, and I don't like to, because in the spirit of what I was talking about and empowering women, I will say that there are some certain performers out there who dress a certain overtly kind of way, and they're received in that kind of way. And in order to have that like respect in this industry, you need to, it's okay to be to show your divine femininity, but be smart about it. Use your head about it. Because in order to avoid being objectified, you have to be objective. And that's what I've learned throughout my process, because I've gone through it too. I was in a genre, I was doing dance and I was doing pop, and I thought that if I posted this photo of me, this like thirst trap photo of me, that it was going to attract a certain, a certain kind of producer to be like, oh, she's hot, let's work with her. But then, just thinking about it in the whole scope, it worked at the time, but will it work timelessly? Not
there
so
we go.
much.
See, there's your T again. And there's the word elegance, right?
Yes.
A lot of women in today's society do not understand that word elegance. They're giving it away. They're giving their bodies away without being elegant about it. And it's not about covering your body up or anything. It's show yourself, but show yourself with some respect.
Yes. And and as far as what I said, that's how I felt, and it was nothing to, it was supposed to really empower women, and it was something to be thought-provoking about, because I know the social media game pretty well. You also need to have something thought-provoking in there to spark engagement. So, and it was something that I felt authentically about, and it is something that I'm very happy in hearing that latest statistic that women are in an age now where we are experiencing our season of dominance.
I like that. Women of Season. Sounds like a good song, doesn't it, Kendra?
I think so. I like
plugging little buttons in with my guests. When things hit me, I'm just like, that'd be a nice song. And I think you could sing something elegant with that, Women of Season. Any writers out there that could write a nice song and Kendra could sing it. And, you just never know who's listening to Teatime.
You never know. Ears are burning.
Right? Well, I want to talk about some of the awards that you got. So you got the Best Dance Award at the Hollywood Independence Music Awards. I want to talk about that award. And you're also a Goodwill Ambassador to China. Are you still the ambassador for that? Could you share a little bit about that with the listeners?
So when I released my music video Body Language, and just the song itself, it hit about 20 different territories in Asia, and it was like widely promoted. And there's a gentleman who owns a big TV station there, and he's like the equivalent to Ryan Seacrest in China. And when Body Language released during the Chinese New Year last year, the music video was broadcasted for the Chinese New Year, and then I gave an address to the people of China, and I said "San Li Fai Lao," which means Happy New Year in Cantonese, and I was awarded the Goodwill Ambassador from the Hollywood Global Music Festival in tandem with that address that I made, and as far as the you mentioned the Hollywood Independent Music Award as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did my homework on you, girl.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I won 2 Hollywood Independent Music Awards. Like I mentioned, my cover of Witchcraft won my first year that I attended. And it was so funny. I was sitting there and I was like, I'm not going to win this. And then all of a sudden, once it said Witchcraft winner, I was like, then I had to give up and give a speech because Myron and Ralph were on tour with Earth, Wind, and Fire. So I had to go up there and make the speech. And I was just like, my heart was pounding and I had to stop because I was like, guys, do you hear that pounding? And then I was like, oh, it's just my heart. Like I was so nervous because I wasn't expecting to win. And then when the Body Language won the Hollywood Independent Music Award, I wasn't expecting that either. And that was awesome as well.
See, I do my homework on my guests. I do deep dives and I see if there's any updates or anything like that. And I get my listeners to go and do their homework too. I want to talk to you about Oyster Shell Music is the label that you work with. I haven't heard
Correct.
of them before. So do you want to share a little bit about Oyster Shell?
Yeah, Oyster Shell Music is my independent label. It's my own label that I've formed. And let's just say it's good to have your own label. And I called it Oyster Shell Music because my music's an aphrodisiac. So so that's why I called it that. And I also think that, you know, oysters create pearls too. So that's just been the label that I've operated under independently.
You know, now that you're saying the pearl, I'm going to pull up your album again. It looks like you're in the pearl.
That's wow.
You know how the pearl shines, and it's got that mother of pearl and the silver. It looks like you're in the pearl, like you're the pearl of the oyster. I like it.
No, well, thank you. Yeah, that's funny that you mentioned and brought that up. It does look like that, doesn't it?
Right? It does. And sometimes you need that outer eye, right, to look at something and say, what do you see when you look at it? And when Kelly sent it to me, I was like, oh, that's a James Bond. Even before I listened to anything, I was like, that's James Bond. But then as you're talking about the oyster shell, I'm looking at the image here and I'm just like, no, she's the pearl in that shell.
Oh, well, thank you. It's very nice. Very nice to hear.
So Kendra, I got some fast questions here for you. One word that describes your voice.
Evolutionary.
Oh, I like it.
Yes.
Dream film soundtrack to be a part of.
Ooh. Well, the next Bond film.
I was going to say, I better get a Bond from you.
Yeah. The next Bond film. You hear that, Bezos? Yeah. Thank you.
Well, your favorite song, you already gave me that for the license intro, was Diamonds Are Forever. Rose Gold or Spotlight? What represents you more?
Say that again.
Rose Gold or Spotlight? What represents you more?
Oh, well, rose gold is my favorite color. It's funny that you mentioned that. And then Spotlight, I don't mind that. I don't mind that either.
So both. We're gonna go with both.
Both, yeah.
If your life were a song title, what would it be?
Oh, wow. If my life were a song title, what would it be? Her Way.
You might have to wait for the next album.
Well, I was going to say it'll be called Her Way, and I'm just saying that because of Frank Sinatra's My Way, but it's called Her Way.
I love that. That's one of my favorite songs. I did it my way.
Yes.
Have you ever done any Frank Sinatra songs?
Oh yeah, well, Witchcraft was the Frank Sinatra song that I covered, and I've done Frank Sinatra's work when I was, gigging in South Florida, and just even now, like I still brush up on my standards, and I still rehearse with my piano player here, and just keeping those wheels oiled as much as possible.
So Kendra, do you have any big announcements that you'd like to share with the listeners tonight?
Well, May 9th is the next License to Thrill show, and that will be in Vegas at the Composer's Room. So stay tuned for more updates on that. Tickets will be available soon on the Composer's Room website. So, and that's May 9th in Vegas. And also May 22nd, I have an original song dropping. It's called Catch Me. And it's an upbeat song that merges where I came from and where I'm going. And it's a let's just say it's a Bondesque dance song. And that's coming out May 22nd. And it's called Catch Me.
I like the names. And that's what I got from all your albums that I found. The 36 albums that I found. It's like, oh, she's got some interesting names for these. So if anybody wanted to go and get the album, the License to Thrill, where could they get it?
You can find it on Spotify, on Apple Music, on YouTube, on Amazon. And if you just Google License to Thrill, Kendra Erika, it will pop up.
And Kendra, you also have some merchandise. So if people would like to check out your merchandise, can they find that? Where can they find that?
You can find it on kendraerika.com/merch, or if you just go to the website and you can just click on the merch tab and you can purchase it off from there.
And Kendra, if you could sing any song right now for my listeners, what song would you sing?
Oh, I'll do this one for you. For your eyes only can see me through the night. For your eyes only, I never need to hide. You can see so much in me that's new. I never felt till I looked at you. For your eyes only. Oh. Sorry, that's it. I got a cat hair in my throat.
That was beautiful. And see, I put my guest on the spot. I really didn't know if I could get you to sing at the end of the show. And I went out and I asked and you performed. And that's what
your eyes only for you. You see what no one else can see. Now I'm breaking free for your eyes only for you. The love I know you needed me, the fantasy you freed me, only for you, only for you.
See, and this is what it is. Tea time, you just never know what comes to the table and who's going to sing, who's going to perform, and who's going to be their true selves. Kendra, thank you so much for sharing your music with my audience and your story. And continue to do what you're doing, because I really am amazed by how much you've done. Even yourself, you didn't know how many albums you had. So tops off to you. What final message would you have for everybody tonight?
It's a quote that my dad has instilled in me since I was a little girl. And it goes, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Oh, I like it. I so like that. Well, thank you so much, Kendra. I'm just going to do a wrap up of what tonight's tea time is, and we will be back next week, and we'll have 4 new guests, and we'll do this all over again. Miss Liz will bring you a different talent, different service, different books, all that good stuff. But tonight, what a captivating and inspiring conversation. Kendra, thank you for sharing your journey and for reminding us that true artistry comes from authenticity, courage, and the willingness to evolve. Your work shows us that creativity has no boundaries. It can move across genres, culture, and experiences to connect people in powerful ways. Tonight, we were reminded that when we embrace our unique voice and allow ourselves to grow, we open doors not only for ourselves, but for others to do the same. Your journey reflects what it means to take risk, explore new dimensions, and bring something fresh and meaningful into the world. Here is something to carry with you after this tea time. What would happen if you fully embraced your voice? Not the one shaped by expectations, but the one that is truly your own. Until our next cup, share, keep expressing, keep evolving, and keep creating in a way that only you can. And I will see everybody next week, and we'll do this all over again. Thank you again, Kendra. Thank you to the listening audience. And be sure to check out Kendra's new album, License to Thrill, at Shopify and all those good record places as well, because you want to LP cover.